we're gonna try to keep a little social distance. We don't have to all gather up. We're gonna keep this, like I said, at a steady pace. We're all gonna move together. We are still in Pensacola, which is the deep south, so there's a possibility that we may have people that might yell at you from the side or honk their horns really loud in a way that's a little bit more aggressive. It's okay. Ignore them. We got something to do. Just keep it moving, okay? All right. Outside of that, let's have fun. Let's celebrate, but let's also keep vigilant because we're talking about our voting rights and how important it is, okay? So I'm gonna ask everybody to start lining up right here at this corner. If you're a representative from an organization, you are welcome to come to the front. And we're gonna get it. Thank you, y'all.
Oh, he's with us. He's with us. He's gonna drive in front of us to make sure we're good. So what? Okay.
Oh, yeah, just
DeSantis got to go.
Cindy. Hold this for just a moment for me. And the stream so I can- It's good. A little difficult to manage both, but we're making it. Yeah, I saw her.
This is my husband, Mark. We're gonna do y'all later.
Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you. I can't get this straight. Okay. Let's do it that way.
Now.
Can you hang on for 2 seconds? Thanks. I'm so sorry. I put that up there. I apologize. Okay. My bad. Okay. I just need to. I didn't realize somebody was in there.
Open the gate, let Matt get out. Open the gate and let Matt get out. Ron DeSantis got to go. Everybody knows, open the gate and let him out. Order him out. Voting is very important. Open the door. Matt Gates got to go. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
March On for Voting Rights is sponsored by the Pensacola Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement. It's the March On for Voting Rights. It's commemorating the 58th anniversary, which is today, of Martin Luther King. Yes. As you see, we have people finding interest in what we're doing on the side of the road. March On for Voting Rights. 2021, 58th anniversary of the commemorative March on Washington with your Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is being live streamed on YouTube as well.
SB 90 has got to go. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
Jamil Davis from Black Voters Matter Fund here locally in Pensacola, Panhandle, Northwest Florida.
This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
way more turnout than we expected. Certainly, if you know about the Lord I serve, he held this rain off so that we could get this done today because he knew it was just as important as anything else. Thank you, Lord.
In that last stretch, y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to show Pensacola what real true voting and what real true voting rights and power looks like? Let's go, let's go. Ain't no power like the power of the people, but the power of the people don't stop saying what? Ain't no power like the power of the people.
Thank you so much.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what?
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Can you let them know online that I'm going to take a 5-minute pause from streaming just to get reorganized and reset up, and then I'll resume as soon as we are. Those of you who are joining us on the live stream at YouTube, we are going to take a 5-minute streaming break just to get reset and ready for the march. For the rally. You still have time to come out, join us. We are at Seville Square. For those of you all who are local, that is at Government Street, and you will see the gazebo, all of the signs, all of the people. And this is a phenomenal turnout, way better than I ever imagined or anticipated. So here is where we are, and we look forward to it. We'll see you in just 5 minutes.
All right. So
again in the future to make sure that we continue
Okay, thank you,
for voting rights.
ladies and gentlemen. We are back and live.
And stop the war on democracy.
Again,
So
we
we're
are
gonna
at Seville
get
Square,
started
gazebo.
Immediately, because it's so important that we get this done and hope that the rain don't hit. All right. Our first speaker this evening, this afternoon, will be Mr. Luman May, our county commissioner, District 3. I see a lot of blue and red, but I see a lot of people fired up. Oh, come on now. The people got campaign that fired up, ready to go. Are we ready? Are we ready to stop the suppression of voting here in the United States of America? Let's say right here in Escambia County, that some would not think that we would be fighting for such democracy and fair voting rights. This is representative of America. Black, white, male, female, all different genders, all different ages are here because we believe in it. Let's tell them that no longer, after 56 years, that we are not going to take anything back. Not only are we not going to suppress voting laws, we're going to expand them. So please, join us. As I sit here, I'm honored to be on this stage with someone who marched and fought with John Lewis, our own local hero. Y'all give it up for H.J. Matthews. Send an email to the chat and send it to your congressperson. Tell them to please pass, stop filibustering, and please, in honor of John Lewis, pass the legislation. Thank you, and God bless you. We want to thank Mr. May for being here, our county commissioner, who have done a great job making sure that our people get vaccinated and people in general. The work that he's been doing for this community. Our next speaker is Lil Eubanks, who is a retired Escambia County Middle School teacher and chair of the Escambia County Democratic Party.
We are live on MSNBC right now. We're live.
Friends, so happy to see you here today. And okay, my job today is to do a little educating as a teacher. Okay, so I'm going to start by saying, in case you guys didn't know, but I believe you do, that 2020 election was one of the most successful ever in the United States. No fraud or election interference, despite what you might hear. Yeah. And the voter turnout was phenomenal, despite taking place in the middle of a pandemic. How could that be? It was because of the widespread usage of vote by mail. While acknowledging the excellent way the election was run in Florida, our governor and legislature somehow felt a strong need to make changes in the Florida election process. Many people said that the legislator was looking for an answer to a problem that didn't exist. What problem did they see that the rest of us didn't? Well, the problem they saw was that there was 1.5 million more Democrats than Republicans that voted with mail-in ballots. Notice that their new voting laws changed little to nothing about early voting and election day voting. However, vote by mail has been strongly attacked. My job today is to warn you about some of those new regulations affecting vote by mail. As I talk, some volunteers are handing out some blue papers which explain how you can work your way through the traps that have been laid to keep you from using vote by mail. First thing you should know is that your request to receive your ballot in the mail is now only good for one election cycle or 2 years. Before, it was good for 2 election cycles or 4 years. If your request was supposed to be through 2022, it could have been grandfathered in. But that depends on when you actually made your request. So one important thing to do is to see if your voter status to receive your ballot in the mail is still active. The handout being passed out will give you 3 specific steps by step-by-step ways you can find out if your vote by mail request is good through 2022. You can check your status by using the Supervisor of Elections website, which is escambiavotes.gov, or call his office at 850-595-3900 and ask about your status. Or if you'd like to know your status today, volunteers are also passing out blue cards like this. Okay, and on this blue card, it has a QR code. For those of you younger than I am, you'll understand what all that means. So you can scan the QR code, and if you follow directions on this blue sheet, it'll take you directly to where you can find out if you still are going to get your ballot in the mail. Okay, so it's very important how to do that. If you want to request a vote by mail ballot, I'm sorry, that's fine. Okay, so the next thing, next change that they came up with is that now you must provide one of 3 types of identification on your vote by mail request. We haven't ever done that before because we already have those on our voter registration card. The different forms of ID are your Florida driver's license or your Florida identification number or the last 4 digits of your social security number. If you want a vote by mail request form, we have some here at these tables that say register to vote. Okay, or you can go to escambiavotes.gov and get one. Again, there are specific instructions on the blue paper about where you can find that on that website. Now, another little change. You know how some of you are very good neighbors and you'll help your neighbors to request vote by mail ballots and that kind of stuff. Can't do it anymore. Okay, that's dangerous, I guess. But if you want to request a vote by mail ballot for someone else, you must be related to them. As the requester, that's a new word for the person who's helping out. Besides giving your relationship to the person you are requesting a ballot for, you must also give your identification number. Another hoop to jump through. Okay? Now, here is the trickiest part of this whole thing. When you sign up for vote by mail, you pick your form of identification, you put it on it. That form of identification must match, let me say that again, must match the form of your identification on your last voter registration form. Okay? Now, this makes things hard. I'll tell you some reasons why. First of all, if you call the Supervisor of Elections office to check and see if your voter by mail status is any good, then you can ask them. I've talked to them. You can ask them what form of ID is on your voter registration form so you can match that ID for your voter vote by mail request. Okay? But the most important thing for you to know, especially if you're a person over 33 years old and you haven't updated your voter registration in a while, is that there is no form of identification on your voter registration form. Okay, I'll say that once again. If you're over 33 and haven't updated your voter registration form, there is no identification to match the identification you put in for requesting your vote by mail. So what you have to do in that case, if you want to vote by mail, which is the safest and best way to do it, update your voter registration. Okay? That's a really big hoop to go through because people are not going to think about that. We have forms today that let you do that, again, at the voter registration form or voter registration booth, or you can go online to escambiavotes.gov. You can either print out the form, fill it out, and either mail it to or turn it in at the SOE's office, which y'all know, most of you march from there, 213 South California Street. Or you can fill in a form online and submit it. Another trick, okay? Know that if you fill in the form online, there's no way to sign it. They don't have a signature. So, your official signature comes from your latest signed driver's license. Okay? Do your voter registration online. Know that your license signature is going. Okay? And we have voter registration forms that you get and update it today. So, the legislature has made it much more difficult for voters to be able to vote there. But we smart enough, outsmart, okay? We have to educate, okay? We have to educate people. We should steps I'm talking about to make sure that your vote by ballot counts. Remember, your vote, your voice. Don't let anyone take your voice away from you.
Yeah.
Share the information that I've given you here today with your friends and family. Must ensure free, fair access to the ballot for every American voter. Congress must yes, vote for the people and the timeless Voting Rights Restoration Act.
For the people acting, the time. Right. Yes.
Thank you
Exactly.
so much for coming.
We are concluding that Lil Eubanks, who happens to be the chairwoman for the Escambia County Democratic Party. Lil Eubanks. Our MC, Jerry McIntosh. For those of y'all who can't recognize people because of their mask, this is a movement for change and WQ and everything else in Pensacola. Grace Resendez, Latino Media Gulf Coast. He is now coming to the podium to address all of the engaged participants. This is Grace Resendez McCaffrey. Her publication in the Gulf Coast is La Costa Latina.
Who cares about our family? Who cares about our health? We do. Who cares that we are still judged by the color of our skin and where we were born? Who cares that our communities are disproportionately protected from a global pandemic? Who cares that there are workers in the fields working not for fair wages, but are paid by how much they can carry on their backs? Who cares that there are women working in these fields are being violated every single day? Who cares about our history? Who cares about telling the truth about our history? We care. Who cares about our future? We care. Who cares about preserving our culture? We care. Who cares about preserving our language? We care. Who cares about protecting our children? We care. Who cares about our children's future? We care. Who really believes that all lives really do matter? Who cares about what we care about? We care. We care about our families. We care about our immigrant families. We care about our immigrant families that traveled far, even walking across countries to reach freedom, opportunity, and safety. We care about people seeking asylum. We care about our parents that work in the dirt for an opportunity for their children to have an education. We care about our kids that want an education and opportunity to work, a future. Oh, we care about our parents. We care about their parents that stepped forward and made themselves vulnerable to our government to protect their children. We care about our health. We care about our health care. We care about our education. We care about equality. We care about the tired, the poor, those hollow masses yearning to be free. We care about stereotypes that are used to create fear and hatred that can be used to create policy. We care, and so we vote. We vote for our leaders that care about what we care about. We vote for our health. We vote for our education. We vote for those that can't. People who may one day become eligible to vote or have children that can. We vote to be heard. We vote to make change. Who cares? Voters care. And we need to protect the rights of every single American to have their say.
That was Grace Resendez McCaffrey of Latina Media Gulf Coast and La Costa Latina newspaper publication.
We always have songs and folk songs and many other songs that we would sing to make sure that, you know, we stayed on the battlefield, as they say. So we're gonna have Mr. Mike Potter come up and do a folk song for us real quick, and then we will move from there.
Okay, we have Mike Potter, who is currently on the board of Movement for Change here locally in Pensacola, Florida, and he is going to provide us with a song. That is Mike Potter's.
It's a wonderful activist songwriter, published in 1963, Phil Oakes. At the time, he was just getting his commercial career started. The publishers convinced him to not include his last verse. The last verse is going to be included today too. Come on and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sands. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains.
Okay, I wish I had a hand free. I would get people on a beat. That is actually the beat it's supposed to be. No, it's off beat, so they can hear people clapping. Yeah. It's off beat, but that's fine. Thank you.
For her power shall rest on the springs of our freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. From Colorado, Kansas, and the Carolinas, Virginia and Alaska, from the old to the new, Texas and Ohio and the California shore. Tell me who could ask for more? Here is no land full of power and glory, beauty that word cannot be called. For her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. But her but she only as rich as the poorest of the poor. Only as free as the land not present nor. Only as strong as our love for this land. Only as tall as we stand. Here is the land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. For her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Her glory shall rest on us all. But this land is slain by you and the kings. They wish away our freedom and they wish away our faith. hate, fear is their weapon. Weakness is their crime. We can stop them if we try. Here is the land full of power and glory. That word cannot be called. Of her freedom, for we shall get on home.
It's a feed that another company is working through to get it on the MSNBC as they broadcast it onto the other marches that are going on. So she's like, yeah, they've got a through WhatsApp communicating to everybody, like, cut it off, do this, do that.
My word, some people say they're too strong, but I don't think they're too strong for me. These are my words. We are here to fight a battle between government for the people and government by organized
For those of
crime.
you who are watching, we are at points and intervals being broadcast via MSNBC as well. I can't tell you the station in Pensacola or the Gulf Coast, but just check your local cable provider and you should be able to tune in, watch us, as well as the other March On for Voting Rights that are currently being held in other cities and states at this very moment.
I want to be a part of this voter
What?
registration and can still vote. The city of Pensacola, the mayor, and he's giving us an incentive that everybody that lives in the zip code of 01, 02, 03, 04, and part of 05 that has a black trash can, you can get a $100 incentive to get vaccinated.
So just to repeat, zip code 32501, 32502, 32503, 04, as well as 32505 here locally in Pensacola, that is within the city limits. If you have not yet been vaccinated, you can be vaccinated and you will receive a $100 incentive in conjunction with the city of Pensacola, who is sponsoring that.
We'll contact them and we'll give them the $100. The first 200 now.
Okay, let me make that modification, the first 200.
So we got about 100 to go, and then the money run out, and I go back and beg for some more. Amen.
And that is Pastor Isaac Williams of Greater Tubine Baptist Church here in Pensacola, Florida. Pastor Isaac Williams.
Abolitionist Frederick Douglass, once a slave, said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. So we're going to struggle and continue to fight as our ancestors did before us to make sure that we have these rights that should be protected. Our next speaker is Ms. Haley Morissette.
This is Haley Morissette, who is the person for the Pensacola Dream Defenders grassroots organization, started and is doing phenomenal stuff here in the Panhandle. Again, Pensacola Dream Defenders, if you want to know more about them, they are on Facebook and you can locate them there.
If you are between the ages of 18 and 35, raise your hand. Y'all look around and look at the hands. I'm part of an organization called Dream Defenders. Dream Defenders is a statewide Black-led organization that we organize people between the ages of 18 to 35, Black, brown, working class people, in order to challenge the system that tries to keep us out of this business. And so, with that being said, I just want to point out that I have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. But if you see someone between those ages, 18 to 35,
all of the participants
that
that
are
are
wanting to be involved, please be as empowering as
Have
possible.
our voter
Because we
registration
have come
table
up
that's
against
currently
nothing
up and ready to go.
but people telling us that we're not
And
the generation.
I'm gonna pan
that's
that
gonna
Diane
be able
Crummell,
to
our on our
With that
state
being
committee
said, I
and
don't
DEC
feel like
chair.
it's right for me to be here speaking. When the one
And here we
person
have our
who
wonderful
is
organization and one of our
absolutely
sponsors,
involved in
the
making sure that
National
those people, those
Coalition
youth,
of 100 Black Women,
and
Pensacola
everyone
chapter,
throughout the
led
state
by the
of Florida
president,
is
Mr. Presley
registered to
Robinson.
vote, that
Thank
they're
you.
being
Thank you for
empowered,
being here.
and
Thank you
that
for your donations as well. Thank
organizations
you.
like Dream Defenders or other organizations that I believe in leadership of get funding to continue to be empowering. I feel like we need words from my partner in crime. Jamil Davis, can you please come up and say a few words? The state coordinator of Black
Neil
Voters
Davis is
Matter.
now approaching the podium. If you remember, he was
My big
one of
brother,
our effective marshals here for the March on
the one
Voting
who
Rights
empowered
movement.
me,
He is
so
with
take your
Black
minute.
Voters Matter Fund
I know
as
you
well.
appreciate it. Don't take too long.
How are y'all doing today? Okay, so that would have been awesome if we was at the super spreader event that happened at the airport last year. But we here and we're here to like really uplift the fact that today is the anniversary of the March on Washington.
Yes, yes. Let us not forget.
That is a K that C.T. Vivian that John Lewis had. So I really want y'all to make some noise right now. My sister just pointed out, my name is Jamil Davis. I am wonderfully proud to serve as the Florida State Coordinator for Black Voters Matter here in the state of Florida. Yeah, so like it's a lot of people, y'all caught a lot of people like sharing about that. So like here's the thing, a lot of us know about political organizing across the country and primarily here in the state of Florida. So if they literally want like a state coordinator or a state director, they hire somebody from Orlando or Miami. So for somebody to be from Pensacola, Florida, and to actually be a state coordinator, that also signifies just how much Black Voters Matter is actually invested in not just Pensacola, but the Panhandle and Northwest Florida as a whole. They really feel and understand that Black Voters matter everywhere. They don't just matter in Jacksonville. They don't just matter in Orlando. They don't just matter in Tampa. They don't just matter in Miami. Although I love my brothers and sisters that's there and my non-binary people that's there. So shout out to them also. But yo, like I'm really, really, really about the Panhandle, about the work that we do here.
Yeah.
There has been a negative connotation put on the word power. Especially when it comes to combining the word power with the word black. Black power for the longest has had a negative connotation ever since individuals like John Lewis, Stokely Carmichael, Fred Hampton, Huey P. Newton, MLK, El Haj Malik Al-Shabazz, which y'all know him as Malcolm X, individuals such as those galvanized and organized people such as yourselves under the guise of Black power. But I'm here to let y'all know that Black power
They had us on or not,
all
but I think we did.
people in this country. An organization that's here to revitalize Black power under the guise and under the quote that Dr. Martin Luther King brought to us, which states that power without love is reckless and abusive. And love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. So I'll do you one better. Power without love gets you reckless and gets you suppressive legislation such as HB 1 and SB 90. Places in the state of Florida.
Say that.
That will disproportionately, if it is actually in our state, will disproportionately affect Black people in this country. SB 90, which they are disproportionately allowing individuals to not be able to have the full benefits of vote by mail, and have organizers like myself, like Hale, like Rodney Jones, like Jerry McIntosh, and a lot of other organizers that's out here today be in jeopardy if we simply just give you water or food.
while you're in line to vote. Y'all feel how hot it is out here right now? Now imagine how hot it's gonna be at this particular time next year during the primary. Because this is normally primary time. I don't think anybody really understands or recognizes this. This is normally primary time. So imagine how hot it's gonna be. And I come and give you a simple drink of water, and now I'm in handcuffs. The audacity, the nerve. The audacity and the nerve of a GOP majority Florida legislature to put us in a position to where we could be locked up. The audacity and the nerve of individuals such as Representative Michelle Saltman, individuals such as Representative Allison Andrade, individuals such as Senator Doug Boxton, to actually be in support of these suppressive type of laws. The nerve and the audacity. Love without power. Love without power gets us sentimental gestures from our federal government, such as, well, we'll take our time to pass HR 1 and HR 4. But you know, we'll give y'all Juneteenth as a federal holiday. I feel like that sounds really great.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's give y'all Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Now, understand and recognize that there are individuals who fought for that to actually happen. And I am so proud and I am so honored that that is the case. But if you do that and don't give us tangible change attached to it, then that becomes a problem and that becomes an issue. And then you combine love and power. Love combined with power gives us tangible change within our communities, such as us last year blocking 3 Mile Bridge to get our citizen advisory committee here in the state, here in the city of Pensacola. Action to make tangible change. There's action that has to be done in order for tangible change to happen. There's action that has to be done in order for funds to be reallocated from a suppressive police department, such as Pensacola Police and Escambia County Sheriff's Department, to be able to fund the things that we so richly need and desire in our Black community. And so right now, we are in the midst right now of letting our state government know and letting our federal government know that in order for you all to remain in the places that you are in right now, there are laws that need to be passed. HR 1 needs to be passed. HR 4 needs to be passed. Because once those are passed, then it becomes a situation where we are in a great state to have SB 90 fully abolished in the state of Florida. And so right now, what I need for y'all to do, when I say love, y'all say power. Love. When I say Black voters, you say matter. Black voters. Black voters. Black voters.
All right, that was Camille Davis, Black Voter Fund, dynamic speaker. That was incredible.
I'm so happy that you is our state coordinator here in this area. So we thank you again for being with us today. I know you in DC, and myself and others, we said we need to get. We want to make sure that we stay social distance as much as possible. That we want you to be protected. We want you to protect yourself because it is so important that we do that because we got many more marches and protests that we have to go through. We have to make sure that we are able to participate, and we cannot if we are sick or in the hospital or not even here.
Yes, no more lives lost.
Sure that you stay protected. Our next speaker, and sorry about that. To get out of the lineup, but
it's all right.
Our next speaker is the president of Movement for Change, also the CEO of New World Believers. Our next speaker, Mr. Rodney Jones.
Yay, Rodney.
So Jamil has gotten y'all hyped up. Y'all hyped up. You got that fire. So now you're ready for your marching orders, right? So now you're ready for your marching orders, right? Because in 1963, individuals from all walks of life, leaders, organizers, influencers, and all kinds from all backgrounds and cultures descended upon DC. They didn't just descend there for another powwow. They didn't gather together so we can cry, woe is me. They came there to make some demands. That's why we gather now. But the unfortunate thing about it is that we are still gathering 58 years later about the same thing. So that tells me, obviously, some of us fell asleep. Some of us backed away. Some of us sat down and some of us said, hey, I'm gonna let the other folks handle it. And the other folks said, I'm gonna let the other folks handle it. And that's why we are right here 58 years later talking about the same thing. It's time for us to make some demands, am I correct? Is it time for us to make some demands? I heard Jamil lay it out. He put it on the plate for y'all. It's time to start eating and start to gather this energy and start making demands. So ladies and gentlemen, you know your marching on. You got to start making demands of your politicians, those people you elected into office. You need to start showing up at your commissioner meetings. You need to start showing up at your council meetings. You need to start demanding them to change legislation that empowers people to oppress us. We got to start to empower ourselves by educating each other. So we got to demand we educate each other in our own homes. We got to demand education of legislation that's oppressing and suppressing particular groups of people. We got to do that even on our jobs. We got to do that in our organizations and in our agencies. We got to do that. See, because we ain't doing nothing if we just having powwows. If we just gathered together and said, whoa, it's me. We got to start creating our own institutions that are going to fight against some of the legislation that continuously oppresses us. Something has to change. We got to demand legislation of those people who represent us at the state level, who represent us at the federal level, who represent us at the local level, because we got to get rid of legislation that empowers people to massively incarcerate particular groups of people. Black people, if you don't know, we have the highest incarceration rate in this country right now today. Black people, you know, still are the most people who are living in poverty right now today. That's why Black people are the people who are suffering the most in this pandemic that we're in because of the health disparities that we have. We got to start to demand legislation that will address some of the issues that now infringe on our civil rights. Amen. Y'all hear me talking? Come on, can I get an amen? That means you agree. We got legislation that is already in place right now today that infringes on our voting rights. So we got to demand legislation that counters these particular legislations that have been put in place that continuously oppresses us. Something has to change. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to just leave here and say, man, there was some powerful speakers there. Man, there was some great orators there. Man, there was some people there I haven't seen in a long time, and I see they doing something. You need to get on the same bandwagon and start doing something. You need to join one of your local organizations that you see that's involved out in the community. Or develop your own organization or institution or something that can invoke change in people. Not just standing behind a microphone and cheering and yelling and shouting and saying, more power, Black power, all power. We can do all of this stuff time and time again. But if you ain't involved, you ain't saying nothing.
I was Rodney Jones, Movement for Change here in Pensacola.
President of the NAACP in Okaloosa and his region.
As you see, the focus is not just on Pensacola, Florida, and Escambia County. The coalition of Civic Engagement for Northwest Florida Panhandle does cover Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, Walton, and Bay counties. And our next speaker, who's approaching the podium, Sabu Williams, is from the Okaloosa chapter of the NAACP. Sure.
I don't have anything on it. I didn't know I was going to be coming behind these great orators to give y'all some information. I'm so glad I ain't coming behind HD Matters. Because I've been standing on his shoulders for about 30 years. So I'm sure that the shoulders are pretty tired to have me standing on them.
Yep. Yes. Amen.
Over here. Praise the Lord. Be a part of this man. I ain't gonna lie. And I thought about what I was going to say today, and I was watching the Olympics.
I'm gonna fall on you.
While I was watching the Olympics, I saw this young lady. Well, it was a race. What do you call it? The 1,500 meter race. It was the women's race. I don't know if you saw that race, but there was this young lady. I think she was from the Netherlands, and they were running, and she was supposed to be the winner. She was one of the highly thought of favorite in that particular race. Thank you, McIntosh. Gary's been helping me out with my speech for years. And this young lady, she was running track, this 1,500 meter race, and all of a sudden, something happened. Some people fell, and she fell. But she got back up. And she ran that race, and guess what? She won that.
She won it, yeah.
And so when I thought about that, I said to myself, you know, when they do this legislation that they're doing, it sometimes knocks us down. It makes us think, well, we can't do it. Here, they come up with a new law. They done come up with some new rules. We can't do it. But we showed them last year that no matter what laws that they do, when they knock us down, we do what?
Get back up.
And we run the race. And that's why we won the race. Now look, Democrats, I'm not here to be partisan. I'm in the NAACP. But we got to either be the smartest people in the world if you're a Democrat, or the craziest people in the world. Because if we stole the election, don't you think we would have stolen a few more elections?
Yeah.
We don't have to steal it, we ought to take it.
For those of you who are joining us outside of the Panhandle, he is referencing our representative in Congress, the inarticulate buffoon, Matt Gaetz.
But Democrats, you either got to be the smartest people in the world or the craziest people in the world. Or both.
Yeah.
You got some Republicans to agree with you to steal the darn race. Oh, you stole the race in Georgia. Republican control. You stole it in Arizona. They still out there trying to figure out the race. They talk about doing the audit. Anybody seen the audit yet? You seen the report of the audit yet? That's like when Trump said he went all the way down to Kenya to get some information about Barack Obama. I ain't seen that information yet. Y'all seen it yet? He's still claiming he got it somewhere. I got the information. The point I'm trying to make y'all is this. I'm a moderate. All right, I'm not as radical as Jerry McIntosh.
Oh.
I'm certainly not as radical as HK Matthews. Woo! I'm not even as radical as that preacher that was up here a minute ago, whose name I don't know. But I'm glad we got brothers like that that are coming up.
Yeah.
My feet hurt.
Yeah.
I'm serious. My feet are tired. And we need young brothers and sisters like that. Take over this march. When you get knocked in, you just get back up. When they change the rules, we might protest against the rules, we might try to get them changed back, but we work with that. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it anyway. I don't care what the rule is. If they say you can't vote, we're gonna figure some way out. If they you can't vote by mail, we'll vote by phone. You can't vote by phone, we'll walk to the poll. We're gonna do it. No matter what they do, you knock it down, you get back up, keep on doing it. We've been doing it for all these years. God bless you.
All right.
Last but not least, somebody said, I know a man.
And this is our upcoming featured speaker for today. He is a civil rights icon. Everybody knows him here in the Panhandle Gulf Coast area. And you'll get a chance to hear from him here more momentarily. It is going to be the legendary Reverend H.K. Matthews.
Has worked many years for the benefit and good of the people of this country and all people of this country. Who worked in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s,
Oh, wow.
and 2000.
No way.
2000, and still working in 2000. So, without further ado, I will introduce you to Mr. Dr. Reverend H.K.
All right. As you can tell, he is very known. Everybody is excited to hear from him on in the audience. And so here is, and I give it Reverend H.K. Matthews.
I'd just like to say good afternoon to everybody that's gathered. If you got laryngitis, don't say nothing. But if you don't have it, good afternoon. It's a joy. Yes, you have been invited to be here today. And one of the most heartening things that I've seen since I came on these grounds is that we've got people of all stripes that are gathered. We got people of all stripes. I want to acknowledge some people who are different from my long family. Jerry McIntosh, acknowledge everything. Diane Crumble, Cindy Martin. But there is one person.
State committee woman.
I want to acknowledge my grandbaby, other grandbaby, Paul. One person in this crowd that is basically my home. And I'm going to ask her to stand. I am going to ask her to wave. She's a part of my life and part of the life of the political landscape in Okaloosa County. I'm going to ask Jill Lewis just to wave.
There's Jill. Hey. Who is also Jill Lewis said, wonderful part of Okaloosa County, great individual, has helped us a lot in this process. Also, treasurer of the Democratic Black Caucus for the state of Florida.
And of course, 66 years later, many of you recognize this mask. 66 years later, when we first launched the march for voting rights in Selma, Alabama, where some of us were blessed enough to be beaten down like dogs
58 years later, where some of you who are gathered here, gathered on the grounds in Washington, all to say to a divided America that we ain't gonna take it no more. And I think we need to say to the world and to those who are trying to take us back to a time that never should have been, that we ain't going back. Yeah. God created all of us. He created us in his own image. And I am happy to say today that had it not been for God and my faith in him, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Did he say?
Because if there's anybody who they love to death,
Okay.
right here, this is, you're looking at it right now. I've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord. We are here celebrating 58 years. Like I said, there's those in this country who are trying to take us back to a time that never should have been. All right. Jim Crow was outlawed in 1964. According to the books, but Jim Crow is very, very much alive. Right here. Mr. Boo was talking about getting up for. How many of y'all saw the trial of Rodney King when they beat him down on the ground? They beat him down to the ground. Policeman went to trial. Judge asked them, said, the man was on the ground. Why did you keep beating him? Their response was, Judge, we kept beating him because he kept getting up. That's what we have to do. They keep trying to knock us down, but we got to keep getting up. This movement does not belong to the young, the middle-aged, or the old. It belongs to every last one of us. Yeah. There are some in the youth movement, some who said that those of us who made a way for them to be in the youth movement needed to go somewhere and sit down. Well, had we done that, you wouldn't be where you are today. We ain't going away. There's some in the middle and old movement who said the young people are trying to take over. Well, if they don't take over, the movement will die. We cannot afford to let the movement die. We've got to keep marching. We've got to keep saying to those who are in the White House. That we are not going back. I don't care how much you push us backward. If you push us backward 2 steps, we're going to push you forward 4 steps. We are not. Diane, keep up the good work. Yeah. All of you here, keep it up. Because there are those who think, and some of us are sleeping through a revolution. All right. Some of us are suffering from selective
amnesia. We have forgotten from whence we came. I will never forget March 7th, 1965. I've got the scar on my knee that will take me to my grave, where I got a nice little whooping on the Edmund Patterson Bridge. Simply because we were trying to get the right to vote. But you know what? They're trying to take it back now, but we're going to have to try to start counting jelly beans in a jar. None of y'all remember when that was going on.
For those of us who are joining and may not be familiar with the reference, he is referencing the poll tax that was placed on Black individuals early on when they tried to exercise their right to vote. They were required to count the number of jelly beans in a jar, which is certainly difficult to do without that. And so sometimes resulting in denied their access to the right.
Some of y'all can join me in this because some of y'all know it. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on moving, keep on voting, voting anyhow. Ain't gonna let turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let turn me around. We're gonna keep on marching, marching up the freedom way. Don't let nobody.
The Ville Square
Turn you
gazebo.
around. Because we are a people that we have got the power and we better exercise. God bless you.
All of the organizations around here, all of the people that organize this, sometimes some of the older people ain't got no back no more to walk with up here. But we're gonna have Liz say something.
The sign in front of me. All right, you see that sign in front of me? March on for Voting Rights, Pensacola Coalition. You see all these different groups. There are all sorts of groups here, okay? We can work together, and we need to work together. In case y'all don't know, we're gonna have some redistricting coming up very soon. We gotta keep our eye on those votes, okay? We gotta watch out for that, all right? I hope that y'all will keep an eye out. Derek, I have to give Derek Scott a little credit here for all
Thank you. That's me, guys. Deservedly me, but solid shit.
And I'm very proud. I think we got probably about 100 folks here today from lots of different groups. And we thank you all for coming. We hope that if you need to update your voter registration, do it right here, right now. If you need to sign up for vote by mail, do it right here, right now. Those blue papers I gave you, those little handouts, the palm cards, share them with your neighbors, your friends. Let them know how to get through these hoops.
Yes,
we gotta keep
please.
voting. We gotta vote by mail because that's the way we don't win. Okay? Thank you all so much for coming.
This is officially going to conclude our March On for Voting Rights rally. I will say, on behalf of the committee, the Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, Northwest Florida, all of our sponsors, we thank you for joining us today. We thank you for coming out. You can find us on Facebook. Again, that is the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement. We thank you. Get out, educate others, and enjoy the rest of your day. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry. So now.